My parents forced me to pay rent and all the bills while my sister stayed there rent-free, insisting they were struggling. "This is your responsibility," my dad said to me. Then I caught them boasting about their secret trip funded with my money. Their faces went white when they returned to an empty house and a single envelope on the table spelling out exactly. Imagine a betrayal so profound, it doesn't just shatter your heart, but meticulously dismantles your entire future, piece by agonizing piece. That's what my own family did to me, one forged signature and luxury vacation at a time. The air in that old house always felt heavy, thick with the unsaid weight of obligation. It was a stifling Tuesday evening, a sickly yellow street lamp glow barely fighting the creeping shadows in my childhood bedroom. That's when I first saw it, my bank account, mocking me with a paltry $2,000 balance. Honestly, I should have known better than to believe Brittany when she swore she'd pay me back. My name is Madison, and at 26, I was living the absolute opposite of every single dream I had after college. My own apartment in the city? A distant fantasy. Traveling the world? A cruel joke. Instead, I was trapped in my childhood bedroom, grinding through 2 soul-crushing jobs, somehow bankrolling my entire family's existence. Madison? My mother Linda's voice, sweet as poison, slithered up the stairs. "The electricity bill is due tomorrow." "I already paid it, Linda." I yelled back, my finger instinctively flying to minimize my banking app. $3,000, just gone. Poof. And me? I still hadn't even bought new work shoes, despite the gaping holes in the soles. "Oh, good girl." Linda materialized in my doorway, her perfectly manicured nails tapping against the frame. A cold chill snaked down my spine. "We're so lucky to have you. I don't know what we'd do without you helping out during these hard times." Hard times? Right. That's what they'd said when I first moved back home after graduation. Just until we get back on our feet. Richard, my father, had promised. 6 months, tops. That was 3 agonizing years ago. My phone buzzed, vibrating with a text from Brittany. "OMG sis, look at these shoes I just got. Only $300. I clicked the image. Christian Lou freaking Boutons. Her 3rd pair this month. A fresh wave of sheer disbelief crashed over me. How can she afford those? I texted back, my fingers practically flying across the screen. "Don't be such a buzzkill," she shot back. "I got a bonus at work." A bonus. Sure she did. Brittany's part-time job at the mall barely covered her phone bill, yet somehow, she always had money for lavish shopping sprees and last-minute weekend trips with her friends. "Madison," Linda's voice again. "Your father needs to talk to you about the property taxes." I trudged downstairs, my shoulders heavy, to find Richard at the kitchen table, surrounded by a sea of intimidating papers. His reading glasses sat low on his nose as he peered at the daunting numbers. "We're a bit short this quarter," he mumbled, not even looking up. "About 4,000. "Richard, I can't," I started, my voice strained. I'm already stretched so thin with "family helps family," the old mantra was about to escape my lips, but he cut me off. He finally met my eyes. His gaze was stern, unwavering. "Your mother and I gave up everything to put you through college. This is just temporary. You know that." The same old, tired guilt trip. It hit me like a physical blow. A scream built in my throat. A desperate urge to shout that I'd paid for college myself, with loans I was still, to this day, agonizingly paying off. But instead, I just nodded. My voice was barely a whisper. "I'll transfer the money tomorrow. That's my girl." He smiled, already turning back to his papers, his crisis averted. "Oh, and the roof needs fixing before winter. Start setting aside for that, too." I escaped to the back porch, gasping for air. The pressure inside me was suffocating. My coworker, Chloe, had invited me to happy hour, but I'd had to decline again. Again? Every spare dollar, every precious penny went to keeping their house, afloat, while my parents performed their Oscar-winning act of crying poverty. My phone buzzed again, this time with a photo from Brittany, having the best sushi ever. Wish you were here. The image showed her at some impossibly upscale restaurant downtown, surrounded by laughing friends and ridiculously expensive plates of food. My dinner? It would be whatever sad scraps I could scrape together from the kitchen, a kitchen I also stocked, by the way. I was just about to head back inside, defeated, when I heard voices drifting through the open window above me. Linda and Richard. My parents. They were on speakerphone with someone. Yes, we've got it all arranged. Linda was saying, her voice practically vibrating with sheer, unadulterated excitement. 2 weeks through the Mediterranean. The cruise line even upgraded us to a suite. A woman's voice, one I didn't recognize, chimed in, "That's wonderful. When do you leave?" "Next month," Richard replied, his tone so smug it made my stomach churn. We figured after all these years of pinching pennies, we deserved something special for our anniversary. I froze. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic, desperate drumbeat in my chest. Pinching pennies? Are you serious? What about the kids? The woman asked. Linda laughed. A light, carefree, dismissive laugh that felt like a knife twisting in my gut. Oh, Brittany's too busy with her social life to notice. And Madison? Well, Madison will be here taking care of the house, like always. She's such a responsible one. You raised her well, the woman commented. We did, Richard agreed, a sickening pride in his voice. Sometimes I feel a bit guilty about how much we rely on her, but she's young. She can always make more money later. I stood there, rooted to the spot, my entire body going numb as their cheerful conversation continued. A Mediterranean cruise, a sweet upgrade, all while I ate instant ramen for dinner and put off getting a debilitating cavity filled because I literally couldn't afford the copay. My hands started to shake uncontrollably. I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app again. $2,000. That was all that was left of my life. While they planned luxury vacations behind my back, something inside me didn't just snap. It absolutely shattered. I stayed frozen on that porch, a statue of betrayal, listening as my parents continued their cheerful cruise planning. My entire body felt numb, except for a searing, molten heat in my chest that intensified with every word they uttered. The house account has more than enough, Linda was saying, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. We can even do those extra excursions in Greece. The house account. The very same account they'd claimed was barely covering property taxes and urgent repairs. The same account I'd been pouring thousands of my hard-earned dollars into every single month. And Brittany's coming shopping with me next week, Linda continued, her voice light and giddy, to pick out some new clothes for the trip. She has such great taste. I heard footsteps approaching the window above me and instinctively pressed myself against the wall, my breath catching in my throat. Through the glass, I could see Linda pacing, phone still clutched in her hand. No, Madison won't suspect anything, she said, a dismissive wave of her hand. She never checks the account statements, just transfers money in like clockwork. My legs finally decided to cooperate. I slipped back inside through the kitchen door, my movements stealthy, making my way upstairs, careful to avoid the usual creaky steps. Once safely in my room, I threw open my laptop and logged into the joint account. The one they'd insisted I needed for household emergencies. 3 years of statements. That's what I started downloading. My hands trembled so violently I almost dropped the mouse. Click, click, click. Each month, a new betrayal. The truth, stark and damning, was there in black and white. Spa days. Designer clothes. Lavish weekend getaways. All while I skipped doctor's appointments and worked grueling overtime at my second job, just to keep them afloat. My phone buzzed. It was Chloe, my coworker. You sure you can't make it tonight? We miss you. I started typing a response, a standard excuse, when another memory slammed into me. Last month. That terrible toothache. Linda, I need to get this cavity filled, I'd told her, wincing. But I'm short on cash after paying the property taxes. Oh, honey, we're all making sacrifices, she'd replied, her voice dripping with faux sympathy. Your father and I haven't had a vacation in years. I scrolled through the bank statements. 2 days after that conversation, there it was. A charge for a day spa, $300. A couple's massage package. My blood ran cold. A sudden knock at my door made me jump out of my skin. Madison, it's Brittany. Can I borrow your black dress? The designer one? I don't have any designer dresses, I said, my voice surprisingly steady despite the tempest raging inside me. Sure you do? Linda said she bought you one for Christmas. I frowned. Linda didn't get me anything for Christmas. She'd said money was too tight. Oh, Brittany's voice faltered. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. After she finally left, I dug even deeper into the statements. And there it was. A charge from Nordstrom on December 23rd. A dress in my size. A dress I had never seen. The pieces of their elaborate deception were starting to click into place, forming a horrifying picture. My phone buzzed again. Chloe, seriously, come out tonight. You sound stressed in your texts lately. I stared at her message for a long moment. Stressed was an understatement. Actually, yeah, I finally typed back. I could use a drink. Be there in 30. At the bar, Chloe took one look at my face and immediately ordered shots. Spill, she commanded, her eyes full of concern. What's wrong? I told her everything. The cruise, the secret shopping, the 3 agonizing years of lies and manipulation. By the end, I was gripping my glass so hard I thought it might shatter, my knuckles white against the condensation. Madison, Chloe said slowly, her voice laced with grim understanding. That's financial abuse. It's family, I replied automatically, the old mantra escaping my lips. Then I stopped. How many times had they weaponized that word, family, to control and exploit me? No, Chloe shook her head, her gaze firm. It's exploitation, pure and simple, and it needs to stop. Back home that night, sleep was an impossible luxury. Around midnight, I heard a faint rustling downstairs. Curiosity, sharp and cold, pulled me from my bed. I crept down, investigating. Linda was in Richard's office, rifling through his desk. My breath hitched as she pulled out a folder, snapping photos of documents with her phone. What are you doing? I asked from the doorway, my voice cutting through the silence. She jumped, nearly dropping her phone, her eyes wide with panic. Oh, Madison, honey, you scared me. I was just looking for some old tax forms at midnight. Well, you know me, night owl. She laughed nervously, a brittle, forced sound. Go back to bed, sweetie. I waited, my heart hammering, until her bedroom door clicked shut upstairs. Then I checked the folder. Inside was a stack of papers, all with my signature. Joint responsibility agreements, loan documents, credit applications, all dated from right after my college graduation. My hands shook so violently I could barely hold the pages. According to these papers, I wasn't just responsible for the house payments. I was legally tied to all sorts of debts I knew absolutely nothing about. My eyes scanned the documents, searching, when one particular form jumped out at me, a student loan transfer form. Next to my signature, a chilling handwritten note, transfer to Brittany Ryan Boutique Startup Fund. They'd used my student loan money meant for my education, to fund Brittany's disastrous, failed clothing store venture, the one they told me had been financed by some mysterious inheritance from our aunt. My blood ran cold, then boiled. After hearing Linda's door close for good, I carefully, painstakingly, took photos of every single document, then returned them exactly as I'd found them. Back in my room, I created a new email folder, Evidence. A grim, determined fire ignited within me. Then I opened my browser. My search query was short, precise: how to legally separate yourself from family finances. It was time. It was time to start planning my escape. The very next morning, I called in sick to both jobs. My heart pounded a frantic rhythm as I drove across town to a small, unassuming accounting office. My hands were slick with sweat, clutching my folder of photographic evidence and documents. "Madison?" A familiar voice called out, full of surprise. "Is that really you?" Eleanor looked exactly as I remembered her from high school. Sharp eyes behind stylish glasses, silver-streaked hair pulled back in a neat bun. She'd been our family accountant for years, until she suddenly retired right after my college graduation. "I need your help," I said, my voice raw as I sank into the chair across from her desk. "And I need to know why you really stopped working with my parents." She studied my face for a long, heavy moment. "Close the door," she said. I did. Then I spread out the documents I'd photographed. Eleanor's expression darkened with each page. "I always wondered if they'd go through with it," she muttered, her gaze fixed on the papers. "Go through with what?" She pulled a file from her cabinet. 3 years ago, your parents came to me with a proposal. They wanted to transfer all their debts to your name. Loans, credit cards, everything. Said it was temporary, just until they got back on their feet." She looked at me, her eyes burning with quiet fury. I refused. Told them it was unethical. They fired me the very next day. She added, her voice chilling, clearly, they found someone else who would. "What about Brittany's boutique?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "The student loan transfer?" Eleanor's face hardened. "That money was meant for your graduate school. Your parents swore you'd agreed to give it to Brittany instead." "I never," my voice cracked, raw with emotion. "I didn't even know I had graduate school money." "There's more," Eleanor said quietly. She pulled up some files on her computer. "Your parents opened several credit lines in your name. They used your social security number, probably from these documents you signed." She turned the screen toward me. The number made my vision blur. Over $100,000. "I'm going to be sick," I whispered, clutching my stomach. "No," Eleanor said firmly, her voice a lifeline. "You're going to be smart, and I'm going to help you fix this. But you need to act fast." For the next 2 hours, we made plans. Eleanor, a true guardian angel, showed me exactly how to freeze my credit, how to dispute those unauthorized accounts, and how to meticulously document everything. She even called a lawyer friend, a specialist in financial fraud, right there on the spot. "What about the house account?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "Transfer your portion out immediately," she instructed, her tone firm. "They've been using your contributions for personal expenses. That money legally belongs to you." My phone buzzed. A text from Brittany: "Linda's taking me shopping for cruise clothes. Want to come?" I ignored it. My focus was elsewhere. A new clarity guiding me. "I need somewhere to live," I told Eleanor. "They can't know I'm leaving until I'm already gone." "I might know someone," she said, reaching for her phone again. "A client of mine owns apartments across town. He's discreet." 20 minutes later, a man named David arrived. He looked more like a laid-back surfer than a landlord, with his tousled hair and genuinely friendly eyes. Eleanor explained my situation concisely and without judgment. "I have a 1-bedroom available," David said, his voice calm. "It's small but secure, and I can offer you a reduced rate if you help manage some tenant communications." "When can I move in?" I asked, the words catching in my throat. Today, if you need to. Tears pricked at my eyes, hot and unexpected. Tears of pure, unadulterated relief. Thank you, I managed to say. Back home that evening, I found Linda in the kitchen preparing dinner. The comforting, familiar smell of her famous lasagna, my favorite meal, filled the air. My stomach, however, churned with disgust. There's my hard-working girl, she beamed, a fake, saccharine smile. I made your favorite. Oh, and honey, the property tax bill came today, I said automatically. I'll take care of it tomorrow. The lie slipping out easily now as I headed upstairs. In my room, the laptop was my fortress. I opened it and started making lists, bank accounts to close. Bills to cancel. Items to pack. A new email address to create. A knock at my door made me quickly minimize everything. Brittany bounced in, laden with shopping bags. Look what Linda bought me for this, she stopped abruptly, her eyes widening, catching herself. For the what? I asked quietly, my voice devoid of emotion. For the work conference next month, she laughed nervously, a flimsy excuse. Anyway, I got you something, too. She pulled out a cheap scarf from her bags. The price tag laughably still attached, $12.99. Meanwhile, the edge of a designer dress box peeked mockingly from another bag. Thanks, I said flatly, the word tasting like ash. After she left, I added another chilling item to my list, forward all mail to new P.O. box. My phone buzzed again. A text from David, apartment ready when you are. Kind regards. I looked around my childhood bedroom, at the walls that had witnessed so many lies, so much manipulation. In 2 short weeks, Linda, Richard, and Brittany would leave for their secret cruise. They had no idea. They had no idea they'd come back to an empty house, a revoked safety net, and a daughter who had finally learned the brutal truth about their kind of family. I opened my banking app, a deep breath steadying my shaking hands, and started moving money. Every single dollar that was legally mine, out of their grasp forever. Are you sure about this? Chloe asked, her voice hushed as she helped me load another box into her car. Once you start, there's no going back. I'm sure, I said, my resolve hard. I double-checked that my bedroom window blinds were still closed. It was 5 a.m. My family wouldn't be stirring for hours. Just 2 more boxes today. We'd been moving my belongings in small, clandestine batches for a week now. Clothes, books, crucial documents, anything I could sneak out without raising suspicion. The rest would have to wait for the final moving day. Your new place is cute, Chloe observed as we unloaded at David's apartment building. Small, but cute. It's mine, I replied, and my voice cracked on the word. Actually, truly mine. Back home, Linda was in the kitchen, humming faintly when I walked in. Where were you so early? She asked without looking up. Morning run with Chloe, I lied smoothly, the deception coming frighteningly easy now. Getting back in shape. Good for you, she beamed, her smile radiating approval. Oh, speaking of exercise, I need your credit card for a moment. The gym membership renewal is due. Can't you use yours? I asked, testing the waters. Her smile tightened, a barely perceptible shift. You know money's tight right now, sweetie. Just until next month. I handed over my card, a calm certainty settling over me. I knew with absolute clarity that she'd use it for more cruise expenses, but it didn't matter anymore. This card, like all the others, would be cancelled in 2 weeks. At work, I used my lunch break to visit the bank. I need to close all joint accounts, I told the manager, my voice unwavering, and open new ones at a completely different bank. Family accounts? She asked, typing on her keyboard. Not anymore, I replied. A quiet, fierce triumph surged within me. That afternoon, I poured all my energy into creating a meticulous spreadsheet. Every bill I'd paid, every loan I'd covered, every emergency I'd funded, 3 years of financial records documented down to the last cent. The grand total made me feel physically ill. My phone buzzed. "Brittany, Richard says the roof is leaking in my room. Can you call the repair guy? Pretty please?" I ignored it. Let them figure it out for once. That evening, I heard Linda and Richard discussing their upcoming trip in their bedroom. "Madison seems distracted lately," Linda whispered. "Do you think she suspects anything?" "How could she?" Richard scoffed. "She never questions anything we tell her. Besides, we'll be back before she knows it." I gripped the stair railing so hard my knuckles turned white, my rage simmering just below the surface. The next morning, I took another sick day and met with the lawyer Eleanor had recommended. "They committed fraud," she stated, reviewing my stack of documents. "Multiple counts. We can press charges." "I don't want that," I said, my voice firm. "I just want out." "Then let's make sure you get out clean," she replied, already drafting papers. "No legal ties. No shared accounts. No way for them to ever touch my money again." Back home, I found Linda in my room, shamelessly going through my desk drawers. "What are you doing?" I asked from the doorway, my voice cold. She jumped, startled. "Oh, just looking for that recipe I gave you last month. The one for lasagna." But I saw her slip something into her pocket. Later, I checked my desk. My newest bank statement was missing. They were getting desperate. That night, sleep continued to evade me. I went downstairs for water and found Brittany sprawled on the couch online shopping on her phone. "Want to split an Uber Eats order?" she asked without even looking up. "I'm craving sushi." "Can't you use your own money?" I challenged. She laughed, a careless, dismissive sound. "Why so stingy? It's just food." I wanted to scream that it wasn't just food. It was 3 years of my life, my dreams, my future stolen and squandered. Instead, I just went back upstairs, my silence a growing weapon. The next day, I met David to finalize the apartment details. "Moving trucks booked for the 15th, he confirmed. The day they leave for their trip." "Perfect." I handed him an envelope. "First and last month's rent." "You know," he said, looking at me with genuine empathy, "what they did to you? It's not okay." "I know that now," I replied. A profound sense of self-awareness washing over me. When I got home, there was a saccharine thank you card from Brittany on my bed. "Thanks for house-sitting while we're away. Love you lots." It felt like a cruel joke. I opened my laptop and pulled up the spreadsheet one last time, adding a few final, damning entries. Linda's secret spa day, $100. Brittany's emergency car repair, the one she never paid back, $2,000. Richard's golf club membership, $1,500. Their Mediterranean cruise, priceless. 2 more days until they left. 2 more days of playing the beautiful, naive daughter. 2 more days until I finally took back my life. I looked around my nearly empty room, at the bare walls and packed boxes hidden deep in my closet. Soon, this would all be just a memory. An expensive, bitter lesson in what family absolutely shouldn't be. My phone buzzed. A text from Chloe, "Everything ready for Operation Freedom?" I smiled, a genuine, unburdened smile. Almost, I typed back. "Just waiting for them to leave so I can make my grand exit." I watched from my bedroom window, my heart a silent drum, as the Uber pulled away from our house, carrying my family to the airport. Linda had kissed my cheek, her usual saccharine farewell. Richard had reminded me about the bills, his voice laced with his usual expectation. "And Brittany?" Brittany had waved excitedly from the back seat, oblivious. None of them, not a single one, knew it was the last time they'd ever see me in that house. The moment their car turned the corner, disappearing from sight, I pulled out my phone. "They're gone," I texted Chloe and David. Within 15 minutes, a moving truck, precise as clockwork, pulled up outside. "Morning," the driver said, checking his clipboard. "Madison, that's me," I replied, my voice steady, opening the front door wide. "Everything's packed and labeled. Let's do this fast." I'd spent the last 2 weeks in a meticulous, almost surgical operation. Every box marked, every item cataloged. The movers worked with a quiet efficiency, carrying out my life piece by precious piece, while I supervised, a ghost in my own, soon-to-be former, home. "What's this?" One of them held up a stack of papers I'd deliberately left on the kitchen table. "That stays," I said quietly, a grim satisfaction curling in my chest. "It's their parting gift." The envelope contained everything: bank statements, stark proof of their secret purchases. Credit card bills revealing their elaborate lies. Loan documents bearing my forged signature. And on top, a letter I'd spent hours meticulously crafting, every word a cut. "Dear Linda, Richard, and Brittany," it began. "By the time you read this, I'll be gone. Here's a detailed account of everything you've taken from me over the past 3 years, total household expenses, $48,762. Emergency loans, unpaid $31,450. Brittany's boutique, my stolen student loan $25,000. Unauthorized credit cards in my name, for $1,200.90. Your Mediterranean cruise, $12,000. Grand total, $121,412.90. Don't bother trying to contact me. All shared accounts are closed. All automatic payments are stopped. The house is your responsibility now, just like it always should have been. Enjoy your cruise. Madison." I'd even added copies of their brazen social media posts, Linda's spa day check-ins, Brittany's shopping haul photos, Richard's golf club pictures, all time-stamped on days they'd claimed to be utterly broke. The movers finished in just under 2 hours. I did one final walkthrough of my bedroom, a cavernous, empty space now, making sure I hadn't forgotten anything truly important. My phone buzzed. A text from Linda, "Boarding soon. Don't forget to water my plants." I deleted it without a second thought. In the kitchen, I laid my old house key next to the damning envelope. Then I pulled out another set of documents, these from Eleanor and the lawyer. Official notices of account closures, credit freezes, and fraud alerts. They'd know exactly how thoroughly I'd cut ties. "Ready to go?" Chloe asked from the doorway, her presence a comforting anchor. She'd come to drive me to my new apartment. Almost. I pulled out my phone and opened my banking app one last time. Every account I'd shared with them had been legally drained. Every penny that was mine now safely transferred to my new, private account at a different bank. I took a deep, shuddering breath and started blocking numbers. Linda. Richard. Brittany. All their social media accounts. Every email address. Everything. "Now," I said, a profound sense of liberation washing over me. "I'm ready." The drive to my new apartment felt utterly surreal. Behind us, the moving truck followed, carrying 3 years of indentured servitude, now packed into cardboard boxes. "They're going to lose their minds," Chloe murmured, a wry smile on her face. "They're going to lose a lot more than that," I replied, the bitterness in my voice replaced with something colder, harder. "They can't afford that house without me, or their cars, or Brittany's shopping habits." At the apartment, David was waiting, ready to help us unload. "Welcome home," he said, handing me my new keys. It took another 2 hours to get everything inside. My familiar furniture looked different in the smaller space, but it felt right. This place was mine. Truly, completely mine. "Want us to stay?" Chloe asked as the moving truck pulled away. "Help you unpack?" I shook my head. "I need to do this part alone." After they left, I sat on my new couch, surrounded by boxes, and pulled out my phone. No messages yet. They were probably still in the air, soaring over the Atlantic. But soon, they'd land in Europe, and then the notifications would start. I opened my email and sent 4 pre-written messages to their utility companies, service cancellation notice, to their credit card companies, fraud alert, to their bank, account closure confirmation, and to their mortgage company, removal of my name from all documents. Then I blocked every single one of those company email addresses. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Brittany, about to take off. Thanks for watching the house. Best sister ever. I took a screenshot of the message, added it to my evidence folder, and finished blocking her number. Then I walked to my new kitchen, poured myself a glass of wine, and smiled. They had 2 weeks of stolen luxury ahead of them. I had a lifetime of pure, unadulterated freedom. 3 days into my new, exhilarating life, Chloe forwarded me a screenshot from Brittany's Instagram story. It read, "Can't reach my sister. Anyone know if she's okay? Starting to worry." I laughed darkly. They must have just discovered the envelope. "Your Linda tried calling the office today," Chloe texted next. I told her, "You don't work here anymore." She didn't take it well. My old phone number had been blowing up with blocked calls and messages for the past 24 hours. I'd gotten a new number, but kept the old one active, a morbid curiosity compelling me to document their increasingly frantic attempts to contact me. Later that afternoon, Eleanor called. "They're trying to access the house account," she said, a hint of satisfaction in her voice. "The bank denied them. Your documentation of unauthorized spending worked. They're locked out." "Good," I said, methodically unpacking another box in my new kitchen. "How bad is it for them?" "Bad," she confirmed. "The mortgage payment bounced this morning." "And those credit cards they opened in your name?" "I've got the fraud department investigating." My hands shook slightly as I placed mugs carefully into the cabinet. "Any legal threats yet?" "They can't make any," Eleanor assured me. "The evidence is too clear." She paused. "But Madison, Brittany posted something concerning on social media about coming back early to fix things." I checked Brittany's Instagram. Sure enough. There was a new story, cutting our trip short. "Family emergency. Can't believe what's happening. So unfair." An hour later, my old coworker, Sophia, messaged me. "Your Linda's here at the coffee shop telling everyone you had a mental breakdown and stole their money. Want me to set the record straight?" "No," I replied, a chilling calm descending over me. "Let them dig their own grave." That evening, I got an email from an unfamiliar address. It was Richard, writing from his work account. "Madison, what you've done is unforgivable. We're your family. We gave you everything. Your Linda is in tears. Brittany had to cancel her semester abroad. How could you be so selfish? The least you can do is answer our calls." I forwarded it straight to my lawyer without a single response. The next day, Brittany's posts turned truly nasty. "PSA, watch out for toxic family members who pretend to care about you but are just waiting to stab you in the back." Chloe sent me more screenshots. Linda had joined local Facebook groups, posting desperate pleas about her mentally unstable daughter who needed help. The comments were initially full of sympathetic responses, until someone who knew the truth started posting receipts of their extravagant spending. The post vanished within hours. A week into my disappearance, David texted, "Heads up. Your parents were asking about you at the building next door. They're getting desperate." I'd been expecting this. They'd try every apartment complex in the area, thinking I couldn't possibly afford to live far from my old, low-paying jobs. That afternoon, I got another email, this time from Linda. "Sweetie, please come home. We can work this out." Yes, we made mistakes, but that's what families do. We forgive each other. Your Richard's blood pressure is through the roof. Is that what you want? To make us sick with worry? I added it to my documentation folder and kept unpacking, unmoved. The next day, my lawyer called. They tried to report you for theft, she said, a hint of amusement in her voice. The police laughed them out of the station when they saw the evidence. But be careful. They're getting desperate. I glanced out my window at the discreet security camera David had installed. I'm ready for them. Brittany's next Instagram post was a throwback photo of us as kids. Missing my sister. Wish she'd realize what she's throwing away. Family is forever. The comments were brutal. Didn't you steal her student loan money? Weren't you just bragging about your shopping sprees last week? Pretty sure family doesn't financially abuse family. She deleted it within minutes. That evening, I got a notification from my bank. They were trying to open a new credit card in my name again. The fraud alert blocked it instantly. Your Richard called the electric company, Eleanor texted. Tried to get them to put the bill back in your name. They refused. I smiled. All those times they'd told me I couldn't survive without them. Now they were the ones struggling to keep the lights on. Chloe sent me one final screenshot for the day. Linda's latest social media post, sometimes the people you help the most hurt you the worst, but we're still praying for our daughter to come to her senses. A mother's love is unconditional. I closed my laptop and looked around my new apartment. The walls were still bare, boxes still scattered around, but it felt more like home than that old house ever had. My phone buzzed with a voicemail notification from Brittany. Her voice, raw with anger, screamed, "You just destroyed this family." No, I thought, a quiet, profound certainty in my soul. They destroyed it themselves. I just stopped paying the bills. I was carrying groceries, lighthearted for the first time in years, up to my apartment when I saw them. Linda, Richard, and Brittany standing in the parking lot next to their car. My heart slammed to a halt, then started racing, a frantic rabbit in my chest. Madison! Linda shrieked, already rushing toward me, her face a mask of manufactured concern. Finally! We've been looking everywhere. I didn't hesitate. I dropped my groceries just inside my door, then stepped back out, closing it firmly behind me, creating a barrier. David, ever vigilant, appeared from his office, phone already in hand. Everything okay here? He asked, but his thumb was already moving over the keypad, calling security. This is a family matter, Richard spat, his voice sharp with entitlement. Please leave us. I'm staying, David replied, leaning casually against the wall, a silent sentinel. Linda reached for my arm. I recoiled instantly, stepping back, my voice low and dangerous. Don't touch me. Madison, honey, you're being ridiculous, she said, her voice dripping with that sickly sweet, manipulative tone I knew so well. Let's just go home and talk about this. Home? I laughed a short, bitter sound. You mean the house you can't afford without me? How's that mortgage payment working out for you? Richard's face darkened, a storm brewing. We raised you better than this. After everything we've done for you. Everything you've done to me, I corrected, my voice cold as ice. The loans in my name. The credit cards. My stolen student fund. Brittany stepped forward, a flicker of defiance in her eyes. It wasn't stealing. I needed that money for my business. A business. That failed in 3 months. I shot back, my voice rising, while I worked 2 jobs to pay for your shopping sprees. We're your family. Linda's voice cracked, tears streaming down her face. A performance I'd seen 1,000 times. You can't just abandon us. Watch me. 2 security guards rounded the corner, their presence a stark, imposing barrier. David nodded subtly at them. You need to leave, one guard said to my parents, his voice calm but firm. We're not going anywhere without our daughter. Richard growled, his face purple with rage. Your daughter? I pulled out my phone, a weapon in my hand. Let's talk about your daughter. Let's talk about the 3 years of bank statements showing how you used me. The forged loan documents, the credit fraud. Should I call the police and show them? Linda's face went white, all pretense of tears forgotten. You wouldn't dare. Try me, I said, my voice cutting through the air. I have copies of everything. Every lie, every theft, every manipulation. We gave you a roof over your head. Richard shouted, desperation creeping into his voice. No, I countered, my voice gaining strength. I gave you a roof, and cars, and vacations, and Brittany's shopping addiction. I paid for everything while you cried poverty and lived like royalty. It wasn't like that. Brittany protested weakly, her bravado finally crumbling. Really? I raised an eyebrow, a cruel, cold smile touching my lips. Should we pull up your Instagram? All those posts about your shopping sprees and fancy restaurants while I ate ramen for dinner? The security guards moved closer, their message clear. Last warning, one said. Leave now or we call the police. Madison, Linda tried one last time. Real tears finally streaming down her face. Please, we can't manage without you. That sounds like a you problem, I said, my voice ice cold, utterly devoid of emotion. I'm done managing your lives. Done funding your lifestyle. Done being your personal ATM. After everything we sacrificed, Richard started, still clinging to his delusion. The only thing you sacrificed, I cut him off, was my trust. And if you ever try to contact me again, if you ever try to use my name for anything, I'll press charges for fraud. I have enough evidence to put you all away. You'd send your own parents to jail? Brittany gasped, finally understanding the gravity of the situation. You'd steal from your own daughter? I shot back, a brutal retort. Linda started sobbing dramatically, a broken performance now. Richard's face was purple with infinite rage. Brittany just stood there, her eyes wide, finally seeming to grasp the magnitude of what they'd truly done. Get out, I said quietly, my voice vibrating with finality. Get out and never come back. The security guard stepped forward, and finally, mercifully, my family started backing away. This isn't over. Richard called over his shoulder, his voice filled with venom. Yes, I replied, watching them retreat to their car, a profound sense of closure washing over me. Yes, it absolutely is. Your karma arrived. It just came riding in under my name. They drove away, Linda still sobbing dramatically, Brittany looking back through the car window, her face pale. I waited until their car disappeared entirely from view before my legs finally gave out, shaking uncontrollably. David gently touched my shoulder. You okay? No, I admitted, a raw whisper. But I will be. Back in my apartment, I sank onto my new couch and opened my laptop. First, I emailed my lawyer with a detailed account of what had just happened. Then, I checked my bank accounts. All secure. No new attempts at access. My phone buzzed with a text from Chloe. How'd it go? Exactly as expected, I replied. Tears, threats, guilt trips, the usual. You're free now, she texted back. Really free. I looked around my small apartment at the new life I was building for myself. No more funding their luxuries. No more enduring their performative poverty while they lived large. No more guilt trips and emotional manipulation. Brittany's last furious voicemail echoed in my head, you just destroyed this family. No, I thought, a quiet, profound certainty in my soul. They destroyed it themselves. I just stopped letting them destroy me. My phone buzzed again. An email notification. Linda, trying one last time. You'll regret this. Family is forever. I clicked delete without reading further and blocked her new email address. They were right about one thing. Family is forever, but sometimes forever needs to end. A real estate listing popped up in my email a few months later. Foreclosure. Beautiful family home. Below, a photo of my old house, looking smaller and shabbier than I remembered. They couldn't keep up with the payments, Eleanor said over coffee weeks later. The bank's taking it next week. I stirred my latte, surprised by my own lack of emotion. Where are they living now? Your parents moved into a small apartment, she said. Brittany's couch surfing with friends. She paused, a small, knowing smile playing on her lips. They tried to use your name for a rental application last week and the fraud alert stopped them cold again. The system you set up is working perfectly. My phone buzzed. A text from Chloe. Got the promotion. Dinner tonight to celebrate? Absolutely, I replied. My treat. I could afford treats now, without 3 extra people draining my accounts. I'd paid off my legitimate debts, started a solid savings account, and even funded my own small investments. The money that used to fund their lifestyle now funded my future. Oh, Eleanor said, pulling out some papers. The investigation into those fraudulent credit cards is complete. The companies agreed to clear your name entirely. I took the documents, remembering how terrified I'd been when I first discovered those debts. Now they were just paper, powerless. At work that afternoon, I got an unexpected visit. Brittany stood awkwardly by my desk, looking thinner, her clothes less polished, her eyes holding a surprising vulnerability. Security called up, I said coldly, my voice devoid of warmth. You have 2 minutes. I got a job, she blurted out, her words tumbling over each other, a real one, full-time. And I'm seeing a therapist. She twisted her hands together. She's helping me understand what we did to you. I said nothing. Linda and Richard won't go to therapy. They still think you're the problem. She swallowed hard, meeting my gaze. But I know better now. And I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't pay back my student loan money, I stated simply. I know. She pulled out an envelope. This is my first paycheck. It's not much, but I want you to have it to start paying you back. I looked at the envelope, but didn't take it. Keep it, I told her, my voice softening just a fraction. Consider it the cost of learning who our parents really are. Madison, your 2 minutes are up, security called just as Brittany started to protest. She left the envelope anyway. I shredded it without opening it. That evening at dinner, Chloe raised her glass. To freedom. To consequences, I added, clinking glasses. A genuine smile on my face. Speaking of consequences, she said, did you see your Linda's latest Facebook post? I hadn't. I'd blocked them all months ago. Chloe showed me her phone. The post read, missing my daughter every day. Sometimes the hardest thing is accepting that toxic people need to be left behind, even if they're family. #boundaries #self-care. I laughed so hard I nearly choked on my wine. The sheer irony was almost physically painful. The comments are savage, Chloe grinned. Everyone knows the truth now. Back home, I found a letter from my lawyer. The last pathetic attempt by my parents to access my accounts had resulted in a formal cease and desist order. Any further attempts would trigger automatic legal action. I added the letter to my closure file, the same one that held all the evidence of their fraud. Not because I needed it anymore, but as a chilling reminder of why I'd done what I did. My phone buzzed with a text from David. Your Richard was asking about you at the coffee shop down the street. Want me to warn them? No need, I replied. They can't hurt me anymore. I walked to my window and looked out at the city lights twinkling like distant promises. Somewhere out there, my family was learning to live without their safety net, without their personal bank, without me. My therapist had asked me last week if I felt guilty. I didn't. They'd spent 3 years teaching me that family meant sacrifice, but they'd never specified it had to be mine. A final text came through from Brittany's new number. The house sells tomorrow. Linda's crying about your old room. Says she keeps waiting for you to come home. I didn't respond, but I thought about that room. The place where I'd planned my escape, where I'd discovered their lies, where I'd finally found the strength to save myself. Home was different now. It was this small apartment with its paid-up rent. It was dinner with Chloe, celebrating her promotion. It was coffee with Eleanor, planning my burgeoning financial future. It was David checking in to make sure I was safe. I opened my banking app again, a genuine, quiet smile spreading across my face as I looked at my steadily growing savings account. Then, I opened my calendar. I booked a vacation. My first real one. Paid for entirely with my own money. Let them cry over my empty room. I was too busy filling my new life. Some people say revenge doesn't bring peace. They're wrong. Sometimes, revenge is just another word for freedom. And for me, freedom felt like finally, truly, coming home. This journey, it broke me, rebuilt me, and ultimately set me free. Have you ever had to draw such a painful, definitive line with your own family? Or maybe you're still living through something similar. Share your story, or your thoughts, in the comments below. I'm reading every single one.